Give me a second. Yeah, I'm listening.
You're saying, sir.
Yep, I'm listening.
Good. So, according to my report here, was an incident that involved you on July 1st on train 72. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, correct.
And can you give me your version of events?
Yes. So, basically, you have a policy in place. Via Rail has a policy in place.
I just want to correct you.
The government. Yeah, you're enforcing. You are enforcing. Okay.
A mandate from the federal government that we have to enforce. But go ahead.
Yes, you have a mandate from the federal government, which is controversial and questionable on the basis of science. But that is not the point. But that is not the point.
No problem.
That is not the point.
I agree with you.
The mandate is, first of all, you were enforcing the tyrannical mandate of the injection mandates, which basically did not allow me to board your trains for almost a year. And that despite having a premier status membership and despite having spent hundreds, actually thousands of dollars in the past on your trains, but that again is beside the point. So we live in a dictatorship, and you have to do your job, enforce the mandates, and Via Rail is doing the wrong thing by enforcing those mandates, which are unlawful. But again, let's.
But we're legally bound to enforce those. So
I
understand.
If you were told by the federal government.
We were told. We were mandated by
if you were mandated by the federal government to shoot Jews in the head, would you be doing that? I think you would. But that's not the point. Let me give you my version of the events.
Okay.
And this is not the first time this happens. This is the second time. It will be the last time because I'm boycotting Via Rail, and many people will decide not to buy your trains, and eventually Via Rail will go bankrupt. It will go out of business, and you'll make no money, and you'll be happy. But let's get to the incident. So the incident, I boarded the train with my whole family, so myself and my parents. We were all masked. And we made it 3/4 of the way. The trip was from Windsor, Ontario to Toronto, Ontario. We made 3/4 of the way, no problem, no issues. I purchased beer on the train, no issues. So that already should tell you that something is wrong from your side, not from my side. Because if
first of all, I don't have a side. I'm the independent police agency investigating this, so they're not my staff. They don't work for me, and I don't work for them. So continue on.
So I'm continuing on. My mother was sitting next to me, and she fell asleep while wearing her mask. And as you know, you finished high school, right? And you know physics. You know there is a force called gravitation. So when you lean your head down and you fall asleep, the mask slips down below your nose. That can happen. Now, nice. Okay. Now, a normal.
You're right. I went to high school. Yes.
Oh, good. So a normal.
Actually, university, and I'm a criminologist by trade.
Perfect. And I did my education, master's degree. So we're both smart, intelligent people. We can use common sense.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an intelligent conversation. Yeah. So that I can resolve this issue.
Yes. So far, the conversation is very intelligent, very respectful. I appreciate that as well. So because of gravitation, the mask slipped down. So what would the normal, decent human being with human decency do? If somebody is leaning down against the window and the mask falls and they're asleep, they would wait until the person wakes up, and then they will politely tell them, "We're sorry, we have to enforce idiotic laws. Please try to make sure that the mask doesn't slip down." But this is not what happened. This is absolutely not what happened. What happened is the Via Rail agent, approaches my mother, taps her on her back, okay, so physically touches her, wakes her up, and then my mother doesn't speak any English, and he tells her like, "Ma'am, immediately put the mask on," like like he's a prison guard. This is unacceptable, guys. This is unacceptable. This guy.
I'm surprised that they tapped on the shoulder because they should be. If you're all together, I presume you're in the four-seater, or were you in the two-seater?
It's a two-seater. She was at
And
the
was
window
she
seat.
near the window, and
Near
she
the
was
window.
the window, and you were the
Exactly,
right?
exactly, exactly.
And is there a reason why she didn't ask you to wake up your mom, or was there any reason?
He could know that it was my mother, right? He doesn't know.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
So that's why he does that. So
Okay.
that caused me to become very angry, and rightfully so. We still are allowed to be angry in this country, are we not?
Yeah, there are limits, though. But go ahead.
There are limits. There are limits. Now,
you understand your.
I understand my limits.
It's like an airplane. We can't.
Yeah.
We're going at high speeds. We
now,
have passengers, etc.
If you hear me on from what happened from this point, you'll see that instead of calling me, you should be calling Via Rail agents and some of the passengers on that train as well.
Just so you know, sir, when I do an investigation, I call everybody.
Perfect. And I suggest you call.
My job is to get your version.
Yeah.
So that I can adequately assess the situation.
Yeah.
And see if there's any actions I need to take, whether with you or with them.
Yeah.
So I actually am, unfortunately, the police of our own staff too, because that's my job. So there's no. That's why I'm telling you, it's not. This is a non-bipartisan intervention. I'm an independent entity investigating an incident, not a person. And in investigating the incident, I look at all the information and then take the decision that's required, whether it regards an infraction on the criminal code, an infraction on the Railway Act, or policies and procedures. So that involves also the staff. So I want you to be assured that I'm going to do my 360, and that whatever action I need to take, I'll be taking. And in your case, and that's why I don't want to cut you short, because going on the information you're giving me and the information I have, it seems to be quite clear that at that point, although like you said, you reacted, and sometimes we have those thresholds are hard to determine. For me, what's important is that you understand that the mandates don't come from us. We gotta enforce them because we're told.
You can also say no. You can also say no. That would be the right thing.
Yeah, but we can't. That's the problem.
That's one step below.
I'll tell you why we can't. On the trains, they systematically send officers of Health Canada to see if we enforce the law. When we don't, we get fined. So
would you rather get fined, or would you rather enforce tyrannical laws? I think there's ethics issue here.
I understand, and I appreciate your interpretation, and I can't say that your interpretation is wrong. Okay, the only thing is, right now in this country, with the laws that we have to respect the laws as is, and if we want to contest them, we have to either change legislation, change people that are in legislative power, or fight in the court of law. But you can't fight with the people that are stuck. It's like a police officer. He didn't put the stop sign there, but if you roll it, he's gonna have to enforce it, even though you think the stop sign was at the wrong place and
irrelevant.
With
all due respect, it's not a stop sign. It's not. It's not a stop sign. A mask, a piece of cloth falling below a nose is not a car rolling at full speed at a stop sign. With all due respect, and you know that. You're an educated person, you know that. And the other thing is, I know you're aware of all the protests that's been happening in this country. I'm not the only person that sees a problem here. So if I were an only person, great. But there's millions of Canadians who would agree with me.
But there's protests against abortion or for abortion, and we don't take sides. We just enforce the laws. You understand? So I think at this venture, for this event, it's the same thing. We don't take one side or the other. We enforce what we're forced to enforce, and unfortunately, in this case, it was the mask mandate. Now, I understand you realize that, unfortunately, until this mask mandate is still effective, we're still going to enforce it next time you come on. And
I will not come on. Don't worry about that. Okay, I'm done with Via Rail forever. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I appreciate that.
Unless the Liberal government is out of the way and Canada returns to being a normal, sane country, and Via Rail is modernized, a lot of things need to happen. But most likely Via Rail is gonna go bankrupt soon anyways. If you look at their financial statements, they're a cash burner for the state, and they're a state corporation. So yeah.
But you understand that I don't want to get into the
Sure. I just hope you'll have a job, because if you just work for Via
don't
Rail.
worry about me. I've already worked 35 years. I'm already retired. This is my second job, sir.
Okay.
So don't worry about me. I'm doing really well, and
Yeah. Awesome.
the reason I'm doing this investigation is because they trust me as being an independent person and a person that just came in to not have all the baggage of Via Rail. You understand?
Yeah. Okay.
So I respect that and I understand. So for me, what's important right now is at the end of all this conversation.
Yeah.
Basically, I had to figure out what your intentions were, how you're going to react, how you're going to act the next time. I'm confident that, like you said, I have a feeling, I don't know when, but maybe the mandates will disappear one day, and hopefully we won't have to enforce them, and then you'll be more than welcome and come to our trains. I think what we have to do is, for me, it's an open and shut case, because I don't have to follow up on anything. I think you're very intelligent and don't need anything else from me. The only thing I will tell you is, obviously, if we have recidivism in this matter, then I might have to, you say you boycott, but my job is also to ban people that don't respect the rules. So I'm not going to ban you. I'm going to respect the fact that you're intelligent enough that when you come back, if you come back while we're still doing the mandate, you do what you have to do. Just be cognizant that we're people too, and that the staff are people too. And not everybody wants this to be done, but it's the rules, and we follow them. And we try to be as respectful as possible. Now, obviously, if somebody did not follow a procedure, or and I appreciate your candor and your honesty when you said the guy or whoever, the girl, doesn't know she was your mom. So that sort of, okay, maybe there's a reason why they tapped her on the shoulder. Because if you would have known, he should have went through you. But if you didn't know him, it's more of that context. But the fact you came forward with that is very honest, and I appreciate that. And that's what I retain from our conversation, is that you're giving me 100% the truth, and you're giving me the most honest interpretation of the situation. So that being said, I will close the file.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else to follow up. I really wish
I think there is. I just want to mention one thing. What happened after, and that's important. So.
Okay, go ahead.
When so they stopped the train, Via Rail stopped the train, and because I realized that the police is not gonna show up so quickly, because that was Burlington Station, and it was on Canada Day, so I figured, okay, if they're bringing the police, they're probably bringing from Toronto, and it will take a while. People will miss their schedule, whatever. So we got up, my whole family got up from our seats, and we left the train 3/4 through the ride. And we figured, we'll just rent a car and let Via Rail be Via Rail. But what happened then is a matter of concern, is a reason for concern. So we were about to leave the train, and there was a Mennonite couple sitting next to us, and they were looking terrified from what was happening, from the fact that somebody's being thrown out of the train because of a piece of cloth. And so when I was going off the train, I passed by that couple, the Mennonite couple. And how do I know they're Mennonite? Because they had the traditional clothing. And I told them, this is the shit this country is going to. And when I said that, another passenger sitting 2-3 rows in front, you know what happened? He got off the seat. So I don't know him. And I was already like 1 feet outside the train. He got up, walked to us, approached to myself, my mother, and my father with a threatening gaze, and raised his hand as if he was about to hit us. And then another passenger said, "You will comply." So this was a threat with violence. So he then stopped at one point from actually hitting us, but he was awfully close to that. So why is it a reason of concern? Because there's going to be no accountability for his threats. I don't know him. All I can say, he was wearing glasses and he looked Asian. That's all I can say. I don't know.
He was in what car? He was in your car?
My car, yes.
Okay.
So nobody's. You can look into that, but nobody's gonna care. What's gonna happen is, I know it's not the first case because of the mandates. So what's gonna happen is, at one point you'll have people fighting on the train if it hasn't happened before because of mask or whatever stupid mandates, and then you have a real problem. Because I'm no violent person, but I can't say that about every person on the train.
Gotcha.
So I think the way forward is for VRL to just say no, we're not enforcing those mandates. They make no sense, no scientific sense, especially given the fact that at this point VRL is the only one enforcing mask mandates. The rest of the country.
Well, the airplanes, sir. It's airlines and train.
Exactly. So that
so
that somehow means that somehow
I like when things are clear.
Yeah. So train, okay, yeah, federally regulated travel.
And the medical institutions.
So that means, okay, so that means the virus somehow knows if it's, and the thing about the trains.
I'm never going to argue with your.
No, but it's important to explain.
Position.
You're gonna have.
I know, but I don't have to explain that because they have to explain that. So
exactly, which they're not doing.
I know, and I appreciate your position. I'm not gonna.
The point I'm making here, the point is very clear that I'm making here. Because the virus somehow knows that it's a GO train, which is green on the outside, or a Via Rail train, which is a yellow color on the outside. Because of that stupidity, you're gonna have violence on your trains, and you're gonna get people hurt. Because not everyone is non-violent, and not everyone is logical, and that can happen, and it will happen if it hasn't happened yet.
And that's why I intervened to make sure that like now I've had the opportunity to discuss with you. I see you're a level-headed individual, and so for me, the risk is low because you understand all the consequences if you decide to do something else. You understand?
And what about the other guy?
Well, the other guy too, like I said, there's no consequence. Well, there might be consequences. I'm going to look into that. You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue my stuff. But in what regards you, my case is closed.
Okay.
It's over. Okay.
Yeah.
I really thank you for taking the time and to explain everything, and I hope that when things get better and that we're, you could patron us one more time, that we'll have a pleasure to cross paths. Okay?
And one final thing I'll say, just say no. That's it. That's it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You have a safe day, my friend.
You too. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.